Stamp duty has taken centre stage in the debate over housing affordability. The Federal Housing Minister Claire O'Neil slammed it as a bad tax, calling for state governments to scrap it. Opposition leader Peter Dutton accused her of voicing thought bubbles, but it was the Business Council that sparked the back and forth after pushing for the move at the beginning of the week. Chief Economist at the Australia Institute, Jericho, joined me. Jericho, welcome to Close of Business.
Good evening, Alicia.
Now, doing away with stamp duty in favour of land tax is not a new idea. In fact, a number of states and territories have already looked at this. Do you agree with Claire O'Neil it's a bad tax?
Oh, look, I'm not sure if it's a bad tax. Yeah, it's probably an inefficient one, but I always think that economists and, for example, the Productivity Commission, perhaps even the Business Council of Australia this week, everyone gets a little bit, I think, overexcited about the benefits of getting rid of stamp duty as though it is this horror tax that is somehow, that's the entire blockage that is causing the housing crisis. Clearly, if you look at it from a rational economic point of view, it does seem a bad tax. It seems like it is a preventative measure on people selling their homes, but I'm always a little bit sceptical of just how big an impact it actually has on people's decision making.
Well, another politician, independent Allegra Spender, who could be a big influence if there's a minority government, has also weighed in, backing the idea to at least look at getting rid of it. It looks like there's a bit of a push on here. What do you think?
Look, I'm not surprised there is, because I think it is something that stamp duty does have a pretty bad name. I think it's something that there's not a lot of love for. But I think, again, all this rush to look at stamp duty overlooks looking at the real culprit, in my view, certainly, was in the taxation space with housing, of the capital gains tax discount and negative gearing, and not to mention also the lack of supply from the public sector.
As you say, there are bigger taxes, and we will get to that. But at a state level, is it feasible to expect state jurisdictions could be weaned off their reliance on stamp duty revenue?
Yeah, that's the big one, because we know, especially in New South Wales, for example, it is a major factor. We know that certainly in the ACT, it was something that needed almost a bit of a run-up to do so, and I think that's going to be a big issue, and it's probably why you've got someone like Allegra Spender, who's not in the state government space but in the federal government space, who is a bit more open about doing something on this, whereas state governments are perhaps saying, how about you control the things that you can control, we'll control the things that we do. So that's always been a bit of the issue, is that the federal sphere would like to get rid of, or like the state governments to get rid of the stamp duty, but the state governments are always really sort of racing around trying to get any revenue they can.
Well, of course, the opposition leader, Peter Dutton, did accuse Claire O'Neil of voicing thought bubbles. But before he did that, he had his own announcement with $5 billion for housing infrastructure. What did you make of that?
Oh, again, I think it's a long line of policies on housing which do everything except actually address housing. I mean, this was translates, because it's over 5 years, we're really looking at $1 billion a year in extra infrastructure over a broad range of things, from roads, water and sewerage, pipelines, electricity, telecommunications. The governments are already spending around $43 billion a year on such infrastructure. I'm not sure $1 billion extra is the key to unlocking an extra 500,000 new homes over 5 years, which would be around a 75% increase in how much housing is being built. I think that's a fairly big ask. I think this is, it's not a surprise that the Property Council and Master Builders Association were there standing next to Peter Dutton, because I think they're the ones who are going to benefit from this.
Well, negative gearing and the capital gains tax discount, we know the federal government has been looking at it, but it was the death of Bill Shorten's election campaign in 2019, probably fair to say. Do you think a government would be brave enough to take it on again?
Well, I actually take issue with the reasoning of the 2019 election. I think we've all, the people who won the 2019 election like to tell the history of why they won it, and There are certainly people who are in favour of keeping the capital gains discount and negative gearing. I was disappointed to see that the government kind of very quickly stomped on the idea that they were doing any changes. I think political parties need to start looking at these things because we've had these taxation policies in place now for essentially 25 years. The jury is in. We know the result of it. It has been a bonanza for investors and has been terrible for housing affordability. And I think we're starting to get to that point where the voting bloc of people who don't own a home and who don't have much prospects of ever owning a home is starting to become so sizable that I think political parties are going to have to stop thinking like it's still 2002 and the majority of people who vote have a home. I think that's what we're going to be seeing over the next 5 years. I think a shift, and I think the first political party to actually sort of jump on that shift, I think will be able to get some really good advantages.
Greg Jericho, thank you so much for your time.
No worries, pleasure to chat, Alicia.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to keep up to date with all our latest research and work, sign up to our newsletter. Delivered every fortnight, it includes behind-the-scenes updates from Richard Dennis, an exclusive cartoon from Judy Horacek, details for our upcoming events and webinars, as well as explainers, graphs, and not to mention the latest cutting-edge research and analysis from the team here on the key issues that are facing Australia. Click the button on your screen to check it out.